when you get an offer from a North Carolina or an Indiana, you have to realize that offer is going out to a number of different kids who are in a very similar spot, if not the same spot as you. How do you handle that, and is that part of your mental process here?
Well, of course. I mean, they're not just gonna, especially the blue bloods of college basketball, all these high majors, they're not just gonna offer one person to say you're the guy we want, and that's it. Like, it's do or die. So you got to understand that there's many recruits in here. I'm not even ranked in the ESPN Top 100, and I have some of these offers that those guys don't have.
Hey fans of M&A, thanks for tuning in to another episode of M&A Sports Radio. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe on your favorite podcast app.
While you're in there, leave us a rating, add a comment. We appreciate the feedback. Thank you for tuning in to M&A Sports Radio. On tonight's M&A Sports Sit-Down, we welcome special guest Andrew Platek, who's a 4-star recruit in college basketball in the class of 2017. Andrew, what's going on, man? Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be on the show. I appreciate it.
Definitely. So, at this point, you're graded out as a 4-star recruit on ESPN.com, as I mentioned before, in the class of 2017. And you started to get some looks for some pretty big-time schools. It gets to a point, for me, looking at the outside, I think, wow, that's got to be awesome. You're thinking, I'm getting contacts from North Carolina, Indiana, Providence, etc. We could go on and on. But when you start to get offers and contacts from schools like that, do you kind of have to pinch yourself sometimes and go, is this really happening to me?
For sure. It's been a blessing. I mean, growing up in a family that wasn't really that athletic, and I fell in love with sports at an early age, and I played all along, and basketball is the one that kind of stole my heart. So to be able to put all this work in and have the people I know and who've helped me along this journey to get me these options and these places that I could very well end up going at the highest level. It's an honor, and it goes to show the work I put in and just the humility and that I handle all these things with.
Absolutely, and naturally, once you pick up a basketball, you want to play at the highest level, like NBA, but college, high school. So through that process, and as your notoriety builds as a 4-star recruit, did you find that like the hype, you have to control the hype, or it's affecting your game? What do you do in that situation?
Well, I got to attack things like one thing at a time, So once these things happen, I mean, it's great in the publicity and everything. My friends are texting me, congratulations. My family's getting noticed for it. So I just had to keep moving on to the next thing. I like to think of this when I played too. It's always the next play mentality. Just whatever's next up, I got to focus on that thing. And then when I'm done with that, I'll move on to the next thing. So I'm not taking this with like, I have offers from here, and here, and that doesn't inflate my ego. It doesn't give me a big head. I love playing with my team. I love basketball, and it's my love of the game that got me to where I'm at today.
So at this point in the recruitment, you've gone to a couple of visits. We were looking up, you had a nice little picture with Tom Crean to Indiana, a couple of visits to Harvard. What have those experiences been like as a recruit coming to those kind of campuses?
It's been amazing. I've been lucky to have parents who are able to travel a lot, and a coach in John Carroll at Northfield Mount Hermon, who's brought me to a lot of these places to, get all these experiences and kind of narrow down what I like and the kind of play style, what campuses look like in college. Because I'm going in kind of blind. You don't really know what you have until you get there and you start doing classes. So it's been great. The places I've been, I think I've been on probably upwards of 8 visits to college campuses, so it's been really fun. I've enjoyed all the experiences, just meeting all these coaches. These are legendary guys that I'm meeting, so especially in regards to the game that I love, it's been crazy. And just to find out what these schools have to offer when they're offering you a scholarship is important to me, and I'm just going to take it all in.
Andrew, we had my cousin on a couple weeks ago, Pat Neary, who's actually your coach with the Albany City Rocks and AAU. And one of his big things he talked about, when we talked about what AAU's like, the day-to-day, dealing with kids, and the whole process of helping a kid kind of find the right school and the right fit, he keeps coming back to me, and I'm wondering how you feel about this. He says he constantly tells kids, like yourself, I'm sure, when you get an offer from a North Carolina or an Indiana, you have to realize that offer is going out to a number of different kids who are in a very similar spot, if not the same spot as you. How do you handle that, and is that part of your mental process here?
Well, of course. I mean, they're not just gonna, especially the blue bloods of college basketball, all these high majors. They're not just gonna offer one person and say, "You're the guy we want," and that's it. Like, it's do or die. So you got to understand that there's many recruits in here. You know, I'm not even ranked in the ESPN Top 100, and I have some of these offers that those guys don't have. So I have to look at this and see who else they're recruiting, who I think I play well with. Or recruiting is difficult because although I'm wanted by schools, I know other players are as well, but I don't see it as a competition. And I see, well, where can my career progress the furthest in these 4 years? It's all about fit for me. So if I find the program, the school, the major that would fit me the best, and that I could see myself winning and having a winning tradition, a culture that I enjoyed, a basketball school, that's where I'll end up going. I want a place that fits our life, and the academic side of the ball, I want to have a great relationship with the coaches. It's just everything has to fit, and who else is being recruited isn't really a concern to me, but it's a concern to me when I get on the campus and I find out these are kids that I can play with and I will play with for 4 years.
Andrew, you talked about being at Northfield Mount Hermon now, and prior to that, you come from Guilderland, a 518 kid, just like myself actually, and you come from a place in Section 2 basketball where at the time you were dominating New York State basketball. Myself, I live in New York City, and I knew who you were. I saw nights you're dropping 30 and 40 points, and you're shooting it from all over the floor, and it's very impressive to watch. But you end up going to Northfield Mount Hermon, and what goes into that decision? Was it tough for you leaving friends and family?
Well, of course it is. Any place you pack up your things and move to a whole new area with new people, new coaches, new teachers, and a different feel. I guess Western Mass is a lot different than Albany, New York. But it was tough, especially leaving Guilderland, where we just came off a loss in the sectional final to my good friend Kevin Herter's team. And we had a good chance of rebuilding and maybe making another run at it the next year. But I just had to look at all the things that I wanted to do for my future, and my parents were firmly behind whatever I chose. So I think I made the right decision to go to Northfield Mount Hermon, just give my body another year to develop, learn more about the game under John Carroll and all these other coaches, and have another year on the AAU circuit. But my friend, there's no bad blood or anything between the school I left. I still love Gil. I have a lot of friends on the team who I still keep in close contact with, and are I love hearing about what they're doing and where their futures are headed. So it was tough for sure, but I'm glad I made the choice I did.
Going off that choice, Andrew, what were the two biggest adjustments to you on the court and off the court making that move to the prep school?
Well, off the court, Northfield Mount Hermon is one of the best academic prep schools in the country. I think it was rated in top 25 of anywhere. So the workload is very much more significant, and just what you have, like, so I had 3 classes that met every day, so there was homework every night. I've read more this year than I have like my whole life in terms of books and things like that. But so on the academic side, it was definitely tough, and it took some adjusting to. But they give you a ton of time to do your own thing, and I was never a bad student. So I adjusted pretty quickly. But on the court, the thing that I needed most to work on, I talk with Coach Carroll all the time, was my shot selection, because at Guilderland, I would kind of have to take bad shots for us to be able to compete.
Yeah, the green light.
Yeah, exactly. The neon green light, actually. So, yeah. So I could pretty much take whatever shot I wanted, but I was never like a selfish player. I always tried to get my teammates involved, and I love winning, and I love having a like that team chemistry. But as soon as I got to Northfield, I'm surrounded by 8, 9, 10 Division I guys who are all part of this cohesive unit that I needed to gel with, and it was coming in, like the open runs that we had, I still would be taking bad shots, and Coach Carroll will be on my back about it a lot, and it resonated with me. So we talked about shot selection a good deal, and what was a good shot, what was a bad shot, what I needed to do to help the team win. And this year, I really think I became a winner. Just have that winning attitude, that mentality that no matter what happens during the game, I'm laying it all on the line, and I want to win more than the next guy does. And we were willing to do whatever it takes to do that.
Andrew, as we kind of talk about the path you've taken here, as I've learned more and more about you prior to this interview, I didn't realize you've been with the Albany City Rocks since you were 10 years old. I found that to be pretty interesting. And when you think about that yourself, it's got to be kind of weird to think how fast time has gone. And along the way, do you ever think about the coaches and the friends you've made that have kind of helped you shape your game and gotten you to this point?
All the time. All the time. It's a daily occurrence. I'm the only person from the original 10U team that's still on the UIBL team.
That?
So
That's crazy.
I've stuck with City Rocks throughout. But in terms of coaches and mentors, my original mentor, Gina Canetti, passed away last year due to a pulmonary embolism, and she was the one that really introduced me to the game. And I wrote an article on Adam Zagoria's blog that goes more in depth about this, but she introduced me to the game, and she told me that no matter what I do, I should stick with this. I could be however good I wanted to be, and she's the one who taught me how to dribble, how to shoot. And losing her was a crushing blow, but I definitely have her in my heart always, and I know she's watching all the games that I'm playing in now. So it's been great to have her watch over me and know she's in a better place now. But in terms of recruiting and these people I met, two of the most influential coaches I've had are Patrick Neary and Jim Hart. Coach Neary has opened my eyes up to the mental aspect of the game, and like digging deeper into scouting and understanding the ins and outs of this league and college basketball and how things work. And I've learned a ton from him, and I wouldn't be in this position now without Jim Hart, with his connections and always believing in me when others didn't. I can't think of enough for what he's done for me, because no matter if I had a bad game or some coach was nervous about recruiting me or shooting me a text or making an offer, he was the one that got Fairfield, which was my first offer, to offer a scholarship in the first place. And it was all downhill from there, and just him working with who he does and the people he knows, it's really helped my career, and I know it'll help me in the future, because if you know Jim Hart, he's a really likable guy, and he knows pretty much anyone. I haven't met a guy in my travels for basketball that didn't know who Coach Hart was. So it's been a blessing, and I can't thank those guys enough.
Andrew, Rumble in the Bronx will be there Friday night when you guys take on the Chinese national team, so we're looking forward to a show in there. We'll probably be sitting courtside. Your coach hooked it up, so we'll be with a media pass. We might be in the locker room. Who knows? But you might be seeing us. We might get the exclusive sit down Friday night. But anyway, what do you look forward to most about that tournament? Any other tournament where you're playing a Chinese national team? That's a big deal. It's a national team from another country where you guys are on display against another great team. What do you look forward to in these kind of matchups?
Well, first of all, the Rumble in the Bronx is a City Rocks tournament, so obviously we have to go out and represent our organization in a positive way. But I've played a few international kids in my career, and we had a Latvian point guard on our City Rocks team this year. So playing with those guys is just a whole new experience, because they play basketball a different way, and it's nice to have that blend of cultures mix, and that's why we were so successful this year in the UIBL season. But playing a whole team, a national team, so this is the best of the best. It should be a great experience, and I'm not going to knock anything on the Chinese team, but we're looking to go out there and get a W. So we're not going to take it lightly just because they're from a different country. Basketball is basketball, and people develop well all over the globe. So we're looking forward to this opportunity to play well and showcase our stuff in front of this great group of guys.
Andrew, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. we look forward to seeing you play this weekend, and maybe we'll have you on again sometime, man.
Yeah, sounds great. I really appreciate the call. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Andrew Platek, Albany City Rocks, class of 2017.